What's up, everyone? This is Bobby Douglas, and welcome back to my channel. I know I've been away for a few months now. Just wanted to take the summer to recharge after a busy college basketball and NBA draft season, but we are now back and well into the swing of college basketball, and I could not be more excited. And I think to start, a good way to come back would be just to talk about the 10 things that I have really been interested in during the opening month of college basketball. It's been a great start to the season. Feast week was awesome, and we've had some amazing non-con matchups, so there are a lot to choose from, but these are the 10 things that have really caught my eye. Before we get into it, make sure to subscribe to the channel. I had this little shirt done. Thought it looked cool. So yeah, here are 10 things that I have found super interesting about college basketball so far this season. So number one for me is Danny Wolf and the Michigan Wolverines. Dusty May is in his first year as head coach of Michigan, and to be honest, I was a little bit lower on Michigan preseason, just because I wasn't really sure how any of these pieces fit together. But they have totally surpassed my expectations, and they look like maybe the favorite to win the Big Ten this year alongside Purdue. A key reason for this, though, is Danny Wolf, who is a 7-footer that came over from Yale in the transfer portal, and he has been so fun to watch this year because of how Michigan is using him. So normally with a 7-footer, you'd see him mainly around the basket, on the blocks, posting up, things like that. But Wolf is actually so fluid and so skilled that Michigan's actually using him as a pick-and-roll ball handler. Wolf has been incredible so far this year in the pick-and-roll. He has a legit handle, very good passing vision, and can just see over any defense that an opponent throws at him. He's crafty around the rim when he gets downhill. He can make you pay from the outside, and overall is just one of the most skilled 7-footers I've seen on the college level. Right now, Synergy has him in the 88th percentile when it comes to pick-and-roll possessions, including passes. So this isn't just some novelty or circus act. Danny Wolf has actually been really effective, and it's just been a joy to watch. Number two, I'm going with Broome and the Auburn Tigers. To me personally, there hasn't been a more impressive team so far than Auburn. They have big wings that can all shoot, and guys like Denver Jones, Chad Baker-Mazara, and Miles Kelly, but really the star is Broome, probably the favorite for National Player of the Year right now, as he's averaging around 21 points and 13 rebounds a game to go along with 3 assists and 3 blocks a game. And honestly, there are some times where he just looks too good and too strong to be playing college basketball still. I get a lot of Carlos from the Benchwarmers vibes from him sometimes when I watch him play, but really Auburn is just clicking on all cylinders right now. They're 8-1 with their only loss coming at Duke. Bart Torvik has him as the best offense in the country with an astonishing 127 points per 100 possessions. And a key thing for them this year is that they're not turning the ball over. They've really stabilized their backcourt, with Denver Jones being the starting point guard and then having guys like Tahad Pettiford and JP Begues come off the bench. And that was a real issue for them in years past. So without that hindering them, I kind of think the sky is the limit for this Auburn team. If I were picking today, they would be my national champ. So I've been really impressed with the Tigers, and I'm excited to see how this team continues to grow as the season progresses. Number 3 for me is John Mobley Jr. from Ohio State. He's a 6'1" freshman guard who just bombs from 3. Right now, he's 25 of 45 from behind the arc, which is good for 55.6%. And what really impresses me here is the confidence and the fearlessness. He hasn't started a single game for Ohio State, but he just has one goal and one role, and that is to let that thing fly. And in high school, he was known as one of the best shooters in the class, and it's just cool to see him kind of live up to that billing early on in the season. Ohio State's just a completely different team with him on the floor versus him off. They're about 10 points better per 100 possessions with him on, and he's just an absolute flamethrower. You think every shot of his is going in, and he's just been a total blast to watch. Number 4, I'm going with Chaz Lanier and the Tennessee Volunteers. Lanier came over from North Florida, and right now he is leading Tennessee in scoring at around 19 points a game while shooting 48% from 3 on the season. And as a whole, Tennessee's offense is just phenomenal right now. Bart Torvik has them as the top 12 offense in the country. As a team, they're hitting around 37% of their threes, which is a very solid number. They're still rebounding the ball at an elite rate on both ends of the floor. And with Lanier, his shooting just frees up so many more drives for guys like Zakai Ziegler, Jemai Meshack, Jordan Gainey, because teams have to respect the shooting so much. He's capable of going on these crazy shooting runs. He had 5 threes in the first 4 minutes against Baylor earlier this year, and as a result, Tennessee's offense looks uncharacteristically fluid, and when you pair that with one of the best defenses in the country, you get one of the best teams in the country. Number 5, we're talking about defense and Houston's JoJo Tugler. He's a rangy 6'8 forward who, for my money, is the most impactful defender in the country because of how much ground he covers, his overall motor, and his elite athleticism. At 6'8, you might not think that he's an elite shot blocker, but he has a 7'6" wingspan, and his 14.8 block rate is top 10 nationally. Some of his plays are just jaw-droppingly good. He'll come over from the weak side to swat three-pointers. At the rim, he'll meet people at the summit and block them. He gets his hands on almost every rebound, and on the season, he's averaging around 6 rebounds and 2 blocks per game, and that's coming in only 22 minutes a night. Houston's defensive rating with him on the floor is around 78 points allowed per 100 possessions, and with him off the floor, it's around 91 points per 100 possessions, so there's a clear numerical impact there as well, and I can say with confidence that the eye test backs those numbers up. Number 6 is Kam Jones from Marquette, probably my favorite player to watch in the country just because of how crafty he is as a scorer. But this year what makes him even better is that he's taken over a full-time point guard role, and Marquette honestly looks like an even better team than last year when they had Tyler Kolek and also Iguodaro. Jones has been really good at navigating ball screens and finding open guys, but what's super impressive about that is that it hasn't really capped his scoring. On the season, Jones is averaging 20 points a game on 58% shooting and 41% from 3, and he's doing this while also dishing out 6.5 assists per game. He's already had a triple-double this year. And of course, the rim finishing is always phenomenal with him as well. He's converting 66% of his shots around the basket, which for a 6'4" guard is phenomenal. He has such great touch, such great pace, and just never looks sped up. Along with Broome, I think he is the co-favorite for National Player of the Year this year in college basketball. Next up at 7, I have Egor Demin and BYU. So Demin is a 6'9" point guard from Russia who spent his last 2 years playing for Real Madrid. And there were some questions about how he would translate to college basketball, but he has been on another level so far for the Cougars. He looks like the best passer in college basketball. His feel is elite. He can make any pass out of pick and roll. He's fun, he's creative, and while this was already kind of known about Demin, what really has surprised me is his ability to finish at the rim and knock down threes. He's averaging a little over 13 points per game right now, while shooting around 49% from the field and 38% from 3, and it's just cool to really see him emerge as BYU's best player from the first game. In his collegiate debut, he had 18 points and 11 assists, and everything just looked super in control and easy for him. He does struggle a little bit against ball pressure and physicality, but this has been an absolute home run of a get for BYU, and Kevin Young has done an awesome job building a team around him that plays to his strengths. BYU is loaded with shooters. They have good big guys that can catch and finish around the basket, so I'm really excited to see how he continues to develop throughout the season. At 8, I have Maryland's Derik Queen, a 6'10" big who played his high school ball at Montverde Academy. Right now, Queen is leading the Terps in both scoring and rebounding, averaging around 17.5 points and 8.7 boards per game. But what really stood out to me is his passing. He's also averaging around 2.5 assists per game, and he's kind of become the hub of Maryland's offense. They're comfortable with him handling the ball. He has elite footwork in the post, and that can set him up for either dunks, layups, or passes to teammates. And it's not like this team is catering to him either. He is legitimately their best player alongside Jacoby Gillespie, but Queen has earned this role. He's shooting over 80% at the rim. He has a positive assist-to-turnover ratio as a freshman big, which is very rare. While he does struggle on defense with mobility, his offensive value add is so high that he's worth keeping out there, and his foot speed and agility on offense suggests that he could get better defensively as the season goes on as well. Queen is so interesting because he's so much more than what the eye presents. With his frame, you'd think he's a little bit plotting and kind of a bruiser forward, but he is so much more versatile than that. He's incredibly nimble on the offensive end, has great ball skills, has great passing vision, and he's become one of the best offensive bigs in the country. At 9, I want to talk about the Oklahoma Sooners because I don't think anybody, including myself, thought they'd be this good this early. Right now, they're undefeated with wins over the likes of Providence, Arizona, and Louisville. They won the battle for Atlantis, and it finally looks like Porter Moser has figured it out in Norman. They have an amazing freshman guard in Jeremiah Fears, who's averaging around 17 points a game. He reclassified late in the cycle, decommitted from Illinois, and joined Oklahoma, and he's just hit the ground running for them. He's fit right into an older core, which I think is super impressive, and he's really shown that he can be a go-to level scorer early on in the season. Alongside him, you have forward Jalen Moore, who's a dynamic athlete and two-way player. He's averaging around 18 points and 6 rebounds a game, and Oklahoma just has winning veterans around those two. You have Kobe Elvis from Dayton, who's a very good three-point shooter. You have Glenn Taylor Jr., who can get downhill and score at the rim, and you get high-point transfer Duke Miles, who is a steadying force in the backcourt and is hitting 47% of his threes so far. The metrics are still so-so about Oklahoma. Bart Torvik ranks them around 60th, but this has been a really impressive start, and they've beaten high-quality teams. And finally, at 10, I have to talk about Cooper Flagg, because for all the hype we saw coming in, for all the highlights we saw of him going at NBA guys as part of the Team USA minicamp, he has largely delivered. I know he's had some bad moments late in games, but you're talking about a 17-year-old freshman who's leading Duke, one of the best teams in the country, in scoring, rebounding, assists, and blocks, and he's doing all of this while being the team's unquestioned alpha. His shot isn't falling from deep right now, but he still finds interesting ways to score because of how fluid he is as a mover. He plays bigger than 6'9". He's a great cutter, a great offensive rebounder. He's shown a little bit of self-creation off the dribble, and he has really good touch. He makes excellent decisions with the ball. He rarely turns it over. He knows where all of his teammates are, and just has showcased a processing speed that's rare for freshmen in college basketball. Not to mention the defensive end, where he's one of the best defenders in the country already. He has super quick hands. He has elite timing around the rim. He's aggressive, and he tries really hard as well. He can stay in front of pretty much anybody. He's extremely disciplined, and again, just doesn't make mistakes. I think he's been the best freshman in the country just because of how versatile he is. He hasn't done anything to show me that he isn't the number 1 pick in the 2025 NBA draft. I've seen the Franz Wagner comparison thrown around a little bit. I think that's pretty accurate, and it's just really cool to see that he's delivering on the hype early on. So those are the 10 most interesting things to me so far this year in college basketball. I want to thank all of you for continuing to support the channel and for watching this video. And as always, give me your thoughts below.